Hi everyone, and welcome to the Faewood desk. This is a new venture for me. I have had a YouTube channel in the past before, and it was focused primarily on like artwork and those kinds of things, but this channel is going to be a lot more informal. I'm just going to try to keep it as low production as possible and make it simple and cozy and a place for me to talk about anything and everything related to my interests and my hobbies. So you're going to find content on here related to books that I'm reading, my schoolwork. I'm a PhD student in medieval literature, and I'm also autistic. And so I'll be sharing things about the ways that I manage my schoolwork, just how I'm doing as an autistic person in academia, especially at this high of a level. And I'll share things related to my interests in fantasy literature, fantasy worlds, mythology, and gaming, all different kinds of things. I'll share book reviews, I'll talk about things that I'm reading, things that I'm creating, just little snippets of my life, things that you might find going on at my desk at any particular point. So I think I'll just go ahead and start with a little bit about how school has been going on this week. I know it may feel a little awkward to just jump in like this, but I figure what a better way to start than to just jump right in as if we're in the middle of a conversation, as if we're old friends and I'm updating you about my life. So what's been going on this week? Well, today is Monday. Today's the beginning of a week. I'm going to try to usually film on Saturdays and kind of give a recap of the week, but today is Monday, and I have spent most of the day working on schoolwork related to my dissertation proposal. It's called a prospectus, and it's basically the document that I turn in explaining to my committee what's my topic going to be, what am I going to be talking about, and prove to them that it's something that is worth doing and that I actually have a plan for making it happen. So I won't share exactly what it's going to be yet because I haven't gotten it approved and I don't want to jinx it, but it's going to be about Irish literature from the 12th century primarily. And I'll talk more about kind of the theme and the interpretive lens that I plan on using once I have that all finalized and approved. But in the meantime, I thought I would share with you kind of the ways and systems that I have been working on managing my schoolwork and how I'm actually keeping a log of my intellectual life in a way that is both analog and digital. So I love using Notion for my digital side of things, but I find that it helps me to remember things when I have everything in two places, in a digital space and then in some kind of analog space. This is kind of a space that I have been using throughout my academic career to kind of keep track of things that I'm interested in. I love the Irish otherworld. I love Irish mythology. One of my favorite texts is called The Tales of the Elders of Ireland. It's actually this book right here, but it's in Irish, it's called The Agil of Nashinarach. And I've just jotted down all different kinds of things related to Irish mythology in this. This is kind of just, again, kind of a catch-all for ideas and research that I have and notes that are related to the dissertation, notes related to the work. And I don't really have a particular system other than just like dating it really quickly. And I use this for anything and everything, just taking notes on what I'm reading, jotting down ideas, brainstorming, notes on close readings, all different kinds of things. So I love this notebook for that. It's the first Archer and Olive book that I've ever had, and it's been great for me. I've loved it. The paper is a little bit heavier than some of the other notebooks that I use, but this one has been really great to work with. I've really enjoyed it. Another thing that I have used that has been super helpful to me in my academic work is Ruby Granger's Academic Planner. I love this planner. It's kind of been a life changer when it comes to managing my productivity and helping me keep track of what I need to do each week. I think I'll say more about the academic planner when I get her new one. I'm almost done. This is August and it ends in August. So we're kind of at the tail end of it, but I'll share more when I get a new one from her. She is going to be releasing some for the 2025-2026 school year, and I'll show you how I get my planner all set up. But this is another one that I just absolutely love. And then the last book that I'll show you that I'm using is this one right here. This is my Hobonichi Cousin. I got the spring version of it, and I started it in April, and I don't totally know if I'll buy this book again. I'm using it because I have it, my intention originally for the Hobonichi Cousin was to basically use it to memory keep things that I was learning. So the goal was every day I would, at the end of the school day, I would jot down something to do with whatever I had learned that day. And so like here, let me see. So here I went on an academic conference in May, went to an academic conference rather, and I jotted down some notes from the conference into this book. So each calendar day I would pick something that I'd learned that I wanted to remember, and I would engage with it in the text. But the problem was that it quickly became kind of a burden of something else to keep track of, something else to accomplish each day. And some days, by the end of the day, I was pretty burnt out on writing and pretty burnt out on thinking textually. And so I kind of started falling out of the habit of it. When did I stop using it? I think I also did other things, like I would include any special interests, basically kind of a daily log of just anything and everything. On the weekends, I would often just do like special interests or artwork that I had liked. Where did I get? Let's see. I think I got all the way through my PhD exams. And then I pretty much, let's see. Yeah, okay. I knew it was somewhere in July that I had stopped. I ran out of steam trying to keep up with it. And so I stopped using it for a little while. But then I've recently come back to it towards the end of the month. So I took a couple of weeks off, and I've been using it as a way of tracking my well-being as an autistic student and keeping track of my productivity. So I'm currently in what you would probably call autistic burnout, as being someone who has late in life discovered and had confirmed that they are in fact autistic. I realized that for many years that I've been trying to function as a neurotypical, and it has not been good for my well-being, and it's caused me to experience a lot of burnout with just every aspect of my life. And so it's not like I'm in a situation where I can just quit everything and recover. I don't have just, the ability to stop what I'm doing, nor do I want to. I want to keep going with school because I want to finish this degree. But I need a way of helping myself monitor how well I'm doing, monitor my energy levels, monitor my brain fog, and just kind of find a space for organizing each day. How did I do that day? Keep track of my energy, keep track of what I've done. That way I can go back and look and see, yes, you've actually done a lot this week. You've done enough. You can take a break, and it hasn't been a waste. Because my memory is so bad, it's easy for me to look back on the week and feel like I didn't do anything. But when I have these daily snapshots, I can go back and say, no, I actually did do quite a bit. And so I thought I'd explain how I use these daily snapshots. I haven't been quite as faithful as I wish to be because I haven't done any but 2. And I don't plan on doing it every single day. I don't want to become another burden or another chore. But I want to keep up with this as much as I can to kind of just track how well I'm doing. And I'm using the Cousin for it because it does have the daily pages. And even I suppose the blank pages tell a story because they show, I was even too burnt out to even keep track of this. So that's probably not a good thing. But okay, so here's how I use this. So on the side column over here, I have my trackers. I track my energy levels. I use a marker from 1 to 5 to say how my energy was that day, and I kind of just go overall on an average. And then I jot down whether or not I had brain fog that day. And then I also track my focus, again, using a scale of 1 to 5. And then I choose a mood word for the day. How did I feel that day? Was I sleepy? Was I tired? Did I feel extra fight or flight? Was I calm? Just keep track of how well my mood has been doing throughout the week. So that way when I get to the end of the week and if I feel terrible, I can be like, well, you were pretty stressed all week, so that's probably why. Or if I have a consistent level of days where things are not going well, perhaps it's time to stop and take a break. And then I also want to track a joyful moment for each day, just to kind of find something positive to take away from the day. So that's my trackers. And then over here, I have a box where I will jot down whatever I did that day. This is not a to-do list. This is an accomplishment list. This is what I did do. so that way I can see here's how productive I was. And I like writing it after the fact because then I don't feel bad for things that were not crossed off my list. This is only my successes throughout the day. So I can see how many hours I spent doing particular things and how much attention each aspects of my life got. So in school, and this is only schoolwork related things, by the way. But it's going to be things like studying for my dissertation, doing research, brainstorming, reading. It's going to be taking notes. It's going to be tracking my language studies because I'm in the process of getting better at Latin and in the process of learning Irish. So it's a lot, but we're managing. And then at the bottom here, this is just going to be a blank spot for just kind of reflecting, just anything that needs to come out of my brain. It can be about school. It can be about just resting. It can be about just anything, whatever feels like it needs to be put down on paper is going to go there. So again, I've only done this for 2 days, but I did enjoy doing it. I'm going to start doing it more. I don't plan on necessarily doing it over the weekends, but I want to do this during the school year at least a few times a week so that I can check in regularly with myself and see how well I'm doing. So I don't use the monthly pages in these, and I was using the contents pages to kind of track the commonplacing that I was doing. That's originally what this was for, really, was a commonplace book, but it's not anymore. And then here I was keeping kind of the daily snapshots that I'm doing here. I was kind of doing that on the weekly pages, but that again became kind of a burden to keep up with. So that's what we're doing here now. So anyway, again, I don't know if I'll repurchase this. I don't know if I'll keep doing the daily snapshot in this way. I think I'll just see how well it goes throughout the rest of this year and then decide if I'm going to do this again. I've thought about even trying like a Hobonichi weeks for this because it's just smaller, less of a commitment as far as page space goes. And as you can see, this one's kind of gotten pretty chunky and thick just because of all the stuff that I've pasted in. Now going forward, I really won't be pasting much in, but you get the idea. Okay. So I am an avid reader. I have been a big reader since I was a kid. I don't really have a memory of not being able to read. That's how much I have loved reading and how much I've read in my lifetime. And I've always loved fantasy books. And I have lately been making space to read more light fiction because in school I read quite a bit of things. I am reading some fiction. Obviously, this is medieval fiction, but it's a little heavier, and I have to analyze it when I read it, and I have to have intellectual thoughts about it as I'm reading it, and that's a lot of work. So I try to save my sanity by having books that I read just purely for fun. When it comes to reviewing books, for me, I'm really going to base it off of how much did I enjoy it? Did I enjoy being immersed in this world? Did I have a good time? If it's a weaker plot or poor character building or, whatever, I may not have a whole lot of judgment for it because what's the point of reading if not to enjoy it? And so for me, like the judge of a good book in my mind, this is going to sound so anti-intellectual coming from a PhD student, but I do not apologize for this opinion. If I have fun, then I'm going to read it and I'm going to recommend it. And so I've got quite a growing list, an addiction rather, to fantasy books. And so I've been buying a lot of modern fantasy. I am an immense Tolkien nerd. I am working on publishing a paper on Tolkien at the moment, actually. But I've also been reading just some more modern fantasy lately. And I thought I would talk about this series that I'm working through because it's a current read. I'm actually pausing the series for the moment. I'll say why in a minute, but I've read the first 2 books in the series. This is the Sacred Stones trilogy by Kate Golden. And I've been seeing this different places, but then I went to Barnes & Noble one day to buy the first one, and a lady who was there said these are the best books that she's ever read. And so I'm like, well, I guess that's kind of my sign to give these a shot. And I'm also kind of weird in that I will often look up spoilers because I want to know if the 2 characters, if the main characters, if the FMC and the MMC, if they're going to get together in the end, because I'm not going to invest in that emotional train wreck if they don't end up with a happy ending. So call me basic, but I'm sorry. I'm going to look up and see if they end up together so that way I know that the investment is going to be worth my time. So This series, I have read the first 2 books. I've read Dawn of Onyx and Promise of Peridot. Dawn of Onyx was so much fun. It was probably, I'm going to say that it treated equally both plot, world building, the romance, had some spice. It treated all those things pretty equally. So this book was kind of a little bit of everything. You had a beautiful kind of semi-Gothic world setting, interesting different kinds of, what would you call it? Different climates in the different realms and the kingdoms, and an interesting magic system. There's a dragon in it. If there's a dragon, I'm probably going to buy it. And the romance between the 2 main characters, I would call it a slow burn, sort of enemies to lovers. And it was a lot of fun. I loved the first book. I blew through it. I even annotated it a little bit, marking some of my favorite passages, and it was a great time. That being said, book 2 was a little hard. This was, I don't want to say it was torture, because that feels a little harsh, but it was a struggle. It was a struggle to get through this book. I did not have fun in this book. The conflict between the FMC and the MMC in this book was painful. And I hesitate to say this, but I even don't really sympathize with the FMC very much in this book because of just the way that she is. So I struggled to get through it. The only reason I finished it, I didn't want to DNF it, is because I knew it was a middle book in the series and it was going to do the work of a middle book. And I obviously want to finish the series because I'm invested in the world, I'm invested in the conflict, and I want the characters to grow. Like, even though I kind of don't like the FMC in this book, Arwen, I'm like, okay, she's growing as a character, so, you know, I can give her a little slack and have some faith in her for, you know, where things are going to go by the end of the series. So I've only read books 1 and 2, but I took a break because I'm like, I need a little bit of break from the drama. I need a little bit of break from this stressful situation that they're in. And I'm not ashamed to say that I'm filling that break with a Hermione fanfic. A little bit of context. I am new to the whole, I didn't even know that Hermione fanfiction existed. I did not even know this was a thing until probably 3 weeks ago. That's how late to the game I am. I'm chronically offline, so it's kind of ironic that I'm even making a channel, let alone talking about this fandom here. But I was intrigued as a big Harry Potter nerd, big Harry Potter fan. I thought I need to see what this hype is about. And so obviously this fanfic has been modified so that copyright issues are not an issue. But it got really good reviews. It got solid reviews. So I'm like, I'm going to try it. Even if it's a fun, bad time, I'm here for it. And I'm really enjoying it. It's a beautiful edition. I love the foil, the gold foil design. I love the sprayed edges. It's just lovely. And I'm having a great time with this book. I didn't have any expectations going into it, not knowing anything about Hermione fanfiction. It was a total surprise for me, and it's been a lot of fun. Where am I at? I'm almost to the end of the book, so I'm hoping to finish it in the next couple of days, but I'm really enjoying it. I will call it, it's high fantasy with a really interesting magic system, but I would also call it a bit of dark fantasy. I don't know if it's quite as dark as like some of the other stuff that's out there. I don't read a lot of dark fantasy, but this is definitely darker than a lot of what I have read. It's a milder, like, kind of crisis in the world than what you would get from like Game of Thrones, but there are like resonances of that kind of post-war kind of situation, and it's, you know, a little heavy at times, but it's so good, so entertaining. I'm completely hooked, and I will be reading any further books, at least as far as I can tell you. Again, I haven't finished it, so I can't like fully recommend it, but where I'm at today is if there are more books in the series, I will be reading them. So the last thing I'll talk about, I think, is my camera, my photography. I'm not necessarily going to go into reviewing this camera, but I just kind of want to talk about my creative practice just a little bit. I'm a deeply creative person. I always have been. I've always loved creating, and photography has been a love of mine since I was about, 15, 16 years old. probably a little bit older than that, I'd say, actually, probably more like senior in high school. And I love it. It's such a good way for me to just kind of step out of the heavy like thinking that I do, and a way for me just to kind of slip into that creative process, that flow state that really helps regulate me, especially as an autistic person. I've realized that doing something creative is just essential for my well-being and essential for managing the feelings of burnout, feeling overstimulated from just trying to exist in this world. But I haven't done as much photography as I would like. Part of that is that it is summer, and in the summertime, I struggle with creative inspiration. And I've decided, you know what, I'm tired of not taking photos. I'm tired of missing out on something that I love so deeply. And so what I'm doing is I'm setting myself a creative challenge for the month. I'm going to make August the month themed around warm. So warm lighting, warm colors, warm feelings and atmospheres, and just try to create photos that evoke that feeling of warmth, even though I am so over the heat. It's been really hot here and I'm kind of sick of it, but I want to evoke that other kind of warmth, the cozy warmth, the warmth that makes you feel calm and centered and grounded, not like you're being roasted alive on the surface of the sun. So this is my camera. It's a Nikon ZF. It's fairly new to me. I got it earlier this summer, towards the end of the semester in the spring. And so I don't know all of the ins and outs of this camera yet. I have been learning it, but it has been a delight to learn. You don't need a camera this intense for your very first go, but as somebody who used to shoot Fujifilm, I'm kind of tired of not being able to buy the Fujifilm products that I was interested in because of how popular they are on social media, and it just seemed like anytime I would try to get an upgraded camera or lens, it was just impossible to do so. So that combined with Fujifilm, just their technology is not quite as good as some of the other brands. Nikon is just tried and true. And this particular camera captures like that retro vibe that I love about Fujifilm, but with the Nikon like science behind it. So I'm really trying to make more time for photography. Try to go out at least once a week, or even just kind of romanticize my life with photography and use photography as a way of just being attentive and not letting my life kind of pass by. So I'll take pictures of my dog, or just my desk, or just something cozy, you know, whatever. But I thought I'd share that too as something that I have been thinking about and working on. So I think that's where I'll end this first video. That's kind of a good overview of me, what I'm interested in, kind of what I'm about, what kind of person I am, as much as a few minutes in a video can give you. But basically what I want to do is do something like this each week and just kind of create a little cozy moment at my desk, talking about life, talking about things that I'm interested in, sharing products with you, sharing notebooking supplies, journaling practices, anything related to my artwork, things about books, all kinds of things. So I don't really have a plan. I don't have a script. This is just one person and trying to make a little cozy corner of the internet and talk with people who also are interested in things that I'm interested in. So if that sounds interesting to you, welcome, and I would love to have you join me. But yeah, I think I'll end that here. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I will see you next time.